Can peace be found through your voice? Today, on our Conversation of Peace, we have Dr. Meribeth Dayme, PhD. She's an exceptional personal performance coach who is known worldwide for her pioneering work and expertise in the function and use of the human voice. Ta-da!
Ta-da!
I'm MarBeth Dunn, and I am just thrilled to welcome you today and to have on our Conversation of Peace the amazing Meribeth Dayme. Our Conversation of Peace is part of the World Miracle Peace Experiment. So welcome and enjoy, because Meribeth will be leading a meditation in just a few days. Meribeth is a coach and a consultant for leaders in the field of business and well-known coaches in theater. She's like a coach's coach, and she specializes in personal transformation. She is a sage. Her spiritual journey manifests in her energetic and conscious approach to the presentation and performance. Her books include The Performer's Voice and Presence, Confidence, and Personal Power. Ooh, welcome, Meribeth. I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here, and I'm so grateful to be sharing this time with you, because I think you're so special in what you're doing and what you're offering to people. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much. I'm just really delighted to have you here. And I have, over the past few months, had wonderful opportunities to get to know Meribeth. Meribeth has so much to say about how our voices can reflect the inner peace of a person. How is that even possible, Meribeth?
Oh my. Okay, so I've been thinking about that a lot since we decided to do this interview, and two words came up for me. The first word is the word person, because some of the definitions of the word person are per son, through sound, that we are
yes.
sound. Okay.
Yeah.
So one of my feelings about this is that we are all vibration anyway, and everything about us in the whole world is vibration, but we forget sound is vibration. So ideally, we're just sounding ourselves when we speak or when we sing, when we utter words. So to me, the piece of that is getting in touch with my own vibration so that I am truly sounding who I am and not someone else. And the biggest thing that I have to deal with people who are speaking or singing is they typically perceive themselves to need to sound like someone else.
Oh, interesting. So rather than being authentically who they are, they step into someone else's persona.
Yes, and we do that easily. I mean, we sort of get it from our family, from our accent, from our idols. I mean, just as a kid, true confessions here, I tried to sing everything like Doris Day.
Oh, well, of course. She was like the biggest thing since white bread.
Exactly. I could imitate everything. But ultimately, we have to find our true voice. And to me, it's the most neglected aspect of who we are, partly from perceptions that it can't be changed, or perception that I don't have a voice like somebody else. And I know when someone comes up to me and say, "Oh, I can't sing," and I'll say, "Compared to whom?" And they're comparing themselves to someone on stage, and I say, "You have your own sound. Make up your own tune." And one of the things I did from childhood, from very small, I grew up on a beach, and I sang to everything there. I was playing by myself, believe it or not, from the age of 3, at a time when it wasn't dangerous, it wasn't a problem. And I sang. And it was, I don't know what I sang. It wasn't songs. It was just singing. And I have to tell you a beautiful story. I visited in Cyprus, a healer by the name of Daskalos. I don't know if you remember him, but there were books written about him called The Fire Next Time by a man named Merkides, I think, a Greek man. But Daskalos lived on Cyprus, and I went with a group to meet him. And we were talking with him after the lesson one day, and I said, I'm a singer. What can you say about singing? And he got the most beautiful smile on his face. And he said to me, that's really easy. He said, the only language of the archangels is singing. So,
Oh, it's so beautiful. I love that.
yeah. So to me, even speaking is singing yourself and making the sound of yourself and being grounded in yourself will allow that to happen. And I know when I've just put people in physical alignment where their vocal instrument is, stacked up properly. It's not a bent clarinet or a broken horn. And when I do that and the voice changes, some people are just totally stunned because they've never heard that voice from themselves. So it's part of the persona of that person. So that's a key for me, that people sound themselves.
I love to sing. We just drove back from Key West yesterday, and I think I sang the whole way.
Oh, great. And was it car karaoke or was it just singing?
It was car karaoke. Had the music on and the radio on. I was just singing along with the radio. It was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it also helped me get through so much quicker.
Of course. Absolutely. And I sing all the time. I mean, it's very funny. I was singing yesterday. I was singing "Send in the Clowns," and immediately two friends texted me, and I thought, this is interesting. I've got a text and "Send in the Clowns," and two people text.
Were they clowns?
Not really, but it was funny.
So there are people that may have a very profound message, but what happens if their voice doesn't really match what their message is?
And sadly, there are a number of people like that, and it's through ignorance. It's not design particularly, and it's also through perception that, again, as I said earlier, that the voice is hard to change, and a little balance will change everything. But for instance, there are authors who read their own books, which is a mistake. Because they read well and nicely, but not really as expressively as someone needs to hear it. And it's kind of like reading a child a story and saying, once upon a time there were 3 pigs, and the first pig lived in a house of wood, and the second pig. That's very nice reading, but it's not very interesting.
No.
And we have a lot of people who do that. So, in fact, a friend of mine who's an author told me recently that the publisher said, no, you may not read your own book.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I find sometimes people, somebody might have a very profound message and have a tiny little voice. And
exactly. Yeah. And, what we don't realize is when the voice doesn't match the message, then the audience does not get the complete message.
So what do you do with someone who has, that mismatch?
Well, I work with them. That's the first thing. I mean, there's some simple things people can do that make them stronger and make the voice stronger. Mm-hmm. For example, I'm sitting in a chair right now, and I have both feet on the floor solidly pointed forward. If I take my feet off the floor, I've done that just now, and all of a sudden, my voice has changed because I've lost my grounding.
Oh, no, that's very interesting because I did have my feet on the floor, but now I'm sitting in a cross-legged position. Did you notice any difference in my voice?
Yeah, but you're sitting totally balanced cross-legged.
Yes.
Okay. That my hips would do that. But so mine is by both feet on the floor. And I see, for instance, a lot of women who will stand on one leg or cross one leg behind the other, even behind a podium when they're speaking. So they're not on balance. So one real key to the voice is being completely balanced. And
Interesting.
yeah, and your voice is an instrument, so it is your whole body. Because if I do something like, uh, I told you I pull my feet off the floor, but now I'll just come forward like this and poke my head into the screen, which is taking my whole instrument and kinking it, kind of like a bent clarinet. And
Yeah.
and there's simple things we can change without going for hours of voice lessons and going me for a half hour every day. And people have that perception that that it's hard to change, but it really honestly isn't. But in terms of speaking, most people forget about the voice, and when they do, they're losing as much as 30% of their message. And if they're not seen, if they're only being heard, then they're losing a huge percent of their message. And what happens is people will like your words, but they won't really get them, or there'll be some doubt in their mind about what somebody's actually saying to them. There'll be a double message that's totally unintended. And it's
Oh,
not the
yeah.
fault, of the person. It's just they don't know to go get some help, basically.
So energetically, you really need to be aligned with what you're saying, whether,
Yes,
so that you may not be aware of the hidden messages that you're sending out when your voice
absolutely.
is not aligned with the energy and your whole being.
And I'm glad you said energy, because at first I was talking about just physical balance, but the energetic balance is really, really important. And the thing that I can say about that I think is really important for everybody is to basically own your space. While you and I are sitting in offices somewhere, and I am not just sitting here aiming at you. I have something behind me. I have space, and I'm owning my space energetically and owning the TV space energetically. If I thought I were only talking to something right here, then I would block my sound. So your perception of the energy that you have is really important. And one of the things I say to people is your energy field is your home. And when you're speaking, you invite guests into your home. You expand your energy field enough above, below, behind, and front to invite everyone there into your home, which we'll do a little bit of on the meditation, so that everybody's at home with the piece and where we send it and how we own it.
Beautiful. Oh, I can't wait for your meditation. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, owning your space, owning your personal energetic home is a really, really important aspect. And it will also get you in touch with your voice right away.
Oh, absolutely. That's beautiful. So you're going to do your meditation on Friday. Oh, I can't wait. I think that'll be really wonderful to see
Yeah,
what you have to contribute, because really you are such a sage. You have such a presence. You're a mentor to the mentors.
my world is teaching. I will find a way to teach what I know if I can. I mean, it's been my way of life since I was young. Yes, I've performed. I talk all the time, so that's easy, but I love teaching. I love working with people who are mentors as well.
And
And
that's beautiful. And that way you have a much greater reach than you would normally if if you taught. You're teaching the teachers of teachers. So
absolutely.
yeah,
Yes,
it's beautiful.
yes, yes.
And so what would you say to how can we use our voices to generate more inner and outer peace?
I think the most important thing is maybe the word we started with, person. that I am sound, I am vibration, and that that vibration is me. And I always say that, your voice is the sound of your spirit, and
Mm,
remembering that your sound is your spirit, and not just something manufactured, and not something to be neglected, something to be grateful for and to honor and to enjoy in any capacity that you use it. And when you speak with that, then you have the potential to be a healer for anyone around you, because they are in that centered, beautiful atmosphere, taking some of your vibration, enjoying, partaking of your vibration. And when you're like that, you have to be at peace, because you are one sound, you are one person in the human
that's
nature.
so really wonderful. So in our World Miracle Peace experiment, all of our guest meditators are there for our peace casters.
Mm-hmm.
We are there, and I believe when everyone is in that deep place of peace and they're expressing themselves from that place, then the vibration that comes out through their voice creates greater peace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing, the vibration. To me, vibration is not just the way we learned it in physics a long time ago, where balls beat against each other. Vibration goes out on every particle that vibrates. And since we're in a world of quantum mechanics now, and understanding a little bit, tiny bit more about vibration, then you really can understand when a butterfly flaps its wings, it creates a hurricane on the other side of the planet.
It
And
totally can, yeah.
and that is what, every time any person speaks, that's what's happening.
Yeah. And also our thoughts are so powerful.
Exactly. All of that is vibration. So it's all
Yes.
combined. And I have to smile sometimes when I think of my thoughts that are still hanging out there out in the universe, and going, please, can I take some of them back? But,
Well, I think, I know that the Course in Miracles tells us that there's no such thing as an idle thought. But
mhm.
when our thoughts, and I know we have something like 80,000 thoughts a day, and when we consciously connect with those thoughts, if we're focused on criticism or negativity, then
Mhm.
it can definitely pull us down, and other people who are around us
Mhm.
can also get caught in that energy suck.
Yeah, well, the same applies to sound. And when a sound is unhealthy, for many reasons, either psychologically or psychically or physically, then it affects those around them. And there are people I've had to leave a room because I just couldn't handle the sound of the voice. It wasn't really their fault. They didn't know, but it was like that. And I'm sure you know of the experiments they did with plants, where they played certain types of classical music to plants that flourished, and other types of heavy metal and things like that, where the plants died. And
Yes.
so what do you think about humans who hear our sound? So to me, it's a responsibility to have the best sound I can, and my instrument walks around with me every single day, and that's what I need.
Nice. I remember hearing Wayne Dyer speak about that as well, that the heavy metal,
Mm-hmm.
is just so negative and dark and really affect people's
Mm-hmm.
vibration.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so important. And also the work of Dr. Emoto,
Yeah,
uh, yeah, with the hidden messages of water.
absolutely.
He played beautiful classical music or said
Mm-hmm.
words like love or peace or joy
Mm-hmm.
to these little drops of water that were then frozen into crystals. The crystals were so beautiful. Each one of them was unique, But when they said words like hate
Mhm.
or anger or played that heavy metal type of music, then they were all deformed.
Mhm.
So I think that all of us who are made up of water, influence,
Water and vibration. Yeah.
water and vibration, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it depends on what level we're talking. I mean, on
Yeah.
some levels we are just, pure spirit, but then we
Yeah.
go into the physicality, and then that's also multi-layered. So
Absolutely. And each permeate each other, so it's all one as far as I'm concerned.
So I
Um,
think it's beautiful that we can be more cognizant of what we're saying and how we're saying it and how we can use this instrument, which is such a beautiful part of us, to
exactly.
create a more beautiful message. Even,
Hmm.
it's so interesting, even playing on a such a quiet note on the computer that you can't even hear it creates
Yes.
a very cleansing vibration in your space.
Hmm.
And it's very uplifting, and you may not even hear it, and yet
Hmm.
that vibration is there. So we do really need to be much more cognizant of our voices
Yes.
and the effects that we have on ourselves and other people.
Absolutely. And we just don't realize the importance. And I have to tell you one more story, which is to me was a wonderful story. I was working in a speech therapy clinic, and I was wandering around behind the other speech therapists, and they decided to give me a case that is considered incurable. It's called spastic dysphonia, and it's one of those fun medical things that if it's curable, then they rename it. And I had this wonderful big woman, she's sitting across from me, and the spastic dysphonia is a terrible sound where the whole larynx is in spasms. So it comes out kind of like this.
Oh,
Everything they say is like that. And there are all kinds of reasons for it, but I didn't know what else to say to her. I was just like flying in the wind, so to speak. And I said, "Do you sing?" And she said, "Yes, I sing." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Sing me something." And MarBeth, she sang the most beautiful version of America the Beautiful I've ever heard anybody sing.
wow.
And I, put my jaw back up and I looked at her and I said, "I don't understand. If you can sing, why can't you speak?" And she said, "When I sings, it comes from the heart." Isn't that amazing? That's a true story.
Oh, yeah. You can't make that up.
No, you can't make that up. And to me, I remember that all the time. And so when we sing or speak, it needs to come from that vibration at all times. And then that's peace.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Mary Beth. I'm really looking forward to your meditation on Friday, the 24th. And
Me
I can't
too.
wait to hear what amazing sound you're going to share with us.
I
Um,
can't wait either. I'm not quite sure how it's going to come out, but let's see.
well, we're all looking forward to it. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing and really enjoy this. Have a wonderful day. And thank you all for joining us today.